Well, it's the final show of the new year. That is right, kids. This is it for 2021. Let's put it behind us and get a win and have 2022 be the greatest year of our lives. Knock on wood.
Your Locked On Capitals, your daily podcast on the Washington Capitals. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
And hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Locked On Capitals. I am your host, as always, the insider to the insiders, Tyler Kuehl, here for the final episode. That is right, kiddies. The last episode, the very last one of 2021. That is right, kiddies. I am ecstatic for it to be the end of 2021, as I'm sure you are as well. I am hoping for a positive new 2022. We'll just have to wait and see and what's in view for the next year. But before we get to that year, we got to have one more hockey game. The Detroit Red Wings are going to be taking on the Washington Capitals, and we're going to break it all down here on the Locked On Capitals. We're going to break down the matchup. We're going to talk about the Red Wings, how they've been doing this year. And we're also going to go into how the two games have went prior to. And, kind of take a look back at the year that was. What have been some of the big moments across the Washington Capitals in the past calendar year, which does date back a little bit to last year. Maybe not too many from later in the season, but there was a couple cool things last year. So, with that, let us discuss the Detroit Red Wings. The Red Wings, who, they've been a very interesting hockey team. They have been they were a team coming into this year that were, dare I say, big fat unknowns. We really did not know what to expect with them. We didn't know exactly how to prep for them because we knew there was Lucas Raymond. We knew there was going to be Mo Seider coming into the fold. We knew Alex Nedeljkovic was stolen from the Carolina Hurricanes. But yet, the Detroit Red Wings were still a team that was unproven because of the fact that, the last few seasons they have played, they did not look that good. They didn't look that good at all. Yet, they have found a way to be one of the, I don't say one of the best teams, but one of the stronger teams in the league this season. Coming into tonight's game, they are fourth in the Atlantic Division. Now, yes, there is a great divide in the Atlantic Division. However, as of right now, as it stands, they are holding one of the wild card spots. In fact, I believe they hold the second one. Yes, they do. Behind the Pittsburgh Penguins, who are fourth in the Metro, but holding the first wild card spot. Now, granted, the Red Wings have played 31 games. Not everyone has played over 30 games, so obviously take that with what you will. But the fact that this is a team that is 15, 13, and 3, given the fact that the past couple of seasons, actually, I don't believe they finished at or above 500 since the last time they made the playoffs in 2015, 2016. Lucas Raymond obviously has been an absolute dynamite player to watch. I have been enthralled by him. I've enjoyed watching him through and through. And the best part for the Red Wings, while missing out their game against the New York Islanders on Wednesday, that was a scheduled game, but then it got postponed. Obviously, it's a huge hit for the Detroit Red Wings. But that said, Lucas Raymond, who was on the COVID list, is finally going to be taken off it. So he will be playing. He will be in the lineup. And, I know the Calder conversation, it always goes up and down and around sometimes with some players, but he's really staked his claim as one of the best rookies this season. Second on the team with points in 28, 10 goals and 18 assists as well. This kid is dynamic. He is a great playmaker. He has got a great shot. And the fact that he's only 19 years old as well, and dare I say the best player on his team, is something to behold. Now they have their captain Dylan Larkin. I believe, I'm not sure, is he on a pace to have a career year right now? He has 29 points, 15 goals, and 14 assists. And let's look, since jumping in the league here in 2015, the most points he's ever had in a season was 73, that being in the 18-19 season. That was when he played 76 games. He's only played 82 games once in his entire career. That was the 17-18 season, the first year of in LCA in Little Caesars Arena. I'm interested, right now, because I'm trying to divvy out what the numbers would be, because he was almost a point a game in that year in 18-19. And he is over a point a game right now. So given the fact of how he's played, I mean, he's been a very big part of this team, and he's showing that he's a leader on the ice. You know, people were kind of questioning what was his mentality after Anthony Mantha had been traded at the trade deadline last year. Larkin was one of the few outspoken people that was very displeased with the move, because him and Mantha kind of came up through the system together in one form or another. They were both kind of rookies at the same time. Mantha was finally getting his big break the same time Larkin was. And I really believe that he's solely developed into probably one of the best leaders in the league, given the fact that, you know, he's a local guy. He grew up cheering for the Red Wings, played at the University of Michigan, I believe it came up to the University, the U.S. National Development Program. Like, he is a Eastern Michigan guy through and through. You know, he is the epitome of what Luke Glendening was for the longest time. Luke Glendening, East Grand Rapids High School, right down the road from me. When, you know, played at the University of Michigan, played for the Griffins, played for the Red Wings, and then went to the Dallas Stars and kind of ruined that whole long streak of playing for solely Michigan-based teams. But Larkin's case, though, it just looks like he's just it's more relaxed. It's not the burden of going into a game every single night, because that's what it seemed like it's been the last couple of years for the Red Wings. It's like, oh, crap. We got to go play a game, guys. It's not going to be easy. Who do we got? Arizona? We may have a chance to win. What do we got? Tampa tomorrow night? Yeah, that's going to be a great game. You know, this has been a fun, exciting team to watch. And I know their last few wins have been against teams that, you know, if you want to be considered a good team in this league, that you'd want to beat. The New Jersey Devils was their last game. That was actually the Saturday before Christmas. So this is a team that has not played in 13 days going into this game. But their other wins, they come against the Islanders, and that was 2 against the Islanders, because they had a weird spell where they had lost 3 straight games, which, yes, I know 3 straight for the Red Wings seems small in years past, but this season, it's kind of a big mark. And that comes with their goaltending as well. Alex Nedeljkovic, I believe, has been under quietly, you know, similar to what he kind of built off of last year. A really good breakout season, and I know people were questioning whether or not he could do it again. And I know the Carolina Hurricanes are doing just fine without him. But to say that Nedeljkovic has not been an MVP candidate for the Red Wings would be an understatement. He's got a .916 save percentage, a .278 goals against average. I know it's not crazy, but an 9 and 7-3 record, and no shutouts. But man, he's come close. He's looked good, and he's made some big saves. I know he's had a couple of laughers. I mean, there's games like Colorado. There's the 2 games against Montreal early on in this season, and I understand that. And of course, people can say, well, he wasn't in the line. Tyler Bertuzzi wasn't in the lineup for those Montreal games. I get what you're saying here, but I really like the way he's played. And Thomas Greiss, I believe, knows he has another level. And I think maybe just the fact that knowing he doesn't have to be the number 1 guy, given the fact that he's had to play with Jonathan Bernier and Calvin Pickard being his other number 2 goaltenders, I think he's kind of happy to have the weight taken off him this year. But right now, they've had a good set of goaltending. They've had good, timely scoring. Mo Seider, of course, has been extremely dynamic. He's tied for third on the team in points with 21, and he actually is tied for the team lead in assists with Raymond with 18. And I mean, there's Vladislav Nemestikov has been great, and Pius Suter has been a great addition from the Chicago Blackhawks. Obviously, Bertuzzi has been good despite him being a complete wonky guy for not getting the vaccine and whatnot, but that's a different story. Robbie Fabry is having a solid campaign. It's really hard to say that this is an easy game, and I think the Washington Capitals realize that, given the fact of how the first 2 games this season went. Both have been close games. Both have been exciting for either team, and, it has also not been favorable to the team that is hosting the game as well. And we will get to that. We'll talk about those first 2 games to kind of really get a delving in, more of an evaluation of how this game may go in Detroit on New Year's Eve. But before we get to that, guys, we must talk about the new year. So that means New Year's resolutions. And if yours is about getting fit or eating healthier, make sure you include Built Bar in your plan. Built Bar is the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar and maybe even better than a candy bar. Built Bar makes it easier to stick to your resolution because it tastes so good, you'll want to eat it. And unlike other protein bars, which can be chalky or waxy or taste like a chemical spill, because you'll want to eat healthy, but it gets so boring sometimes because by week 3, sometimes you just think it's not even worth it. Built Bars, by the way, are covered in 100% real chocolate. And here's an idea for the new year. Go to all your secret stashes at home, in the pantry, at office, in the car, wherever. Throw out all those sugary, calorie-filled treats and replace them with Built Bars. So when you're craving a snack or treat, reach out for something that's healthy and tastes incredible. Go to Built.com right now to use the promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off your order. That is LOCKED15 for 15% off at Built.com. So the Red Wings and the Capitals have met twice already. This is the third and final time they've met this season. I know what is with it, with all these teams that the Capitals did not get a chance to play last season, playing them within the first half of the year. The Chicago Blackhawks, the Florida Panthers, the Detroit Red Wings. I mean, geez, it's funny, like they haven't played the Toronto Maple Leafs yet, the Montreal Canadiens, like the list of those teams goes on and on, but certain teams, it's like, we're going to get them all in there, get them all together and play them right away. Okay, that's kind of weird, but all right, well, let's go on with it. The first game, of course, was a statement game for the Red Wings, because at that point, they were about 500, around that mark, but people were like, okay, this is one of those blind starts, because at that point, the Buffalo Sabres were really good. There was, of course, the New Jersey Devils were one of the best teams in the division. They've tailed off, of course. And there's also the Philadelphia Flyers were at the top of the Metropolitan Division. And you thought, all right, well, the Detroit Red Wings are just going to be just like them. And then Dylan Larkin wins it in overtime. And then we say to ourselves, well, maybe this team's legit. And we saw that. And I know some people kind of went out and said, well, the Caps took them lightly. They took on the Red Wings. And they thought it was going to be a cakewalk, just like it had been in years past, even though it had been a couple of seasons since they'd last played. And of course, 1920, when the Red Wings won 15 games, may have won maybe 16 or 17 had they played a full 82 games. But I think everyone kind of realized that this was going to be a tough team to play against. The Red Wings came out fast. They came out, one of those situations where they realize they don't have much to lose. This is not, they're not the favorite. They can just go out and have fun and play hockey. And they took it to the Caps at some points and were able to get the win on that night back in October. Because it was back in October, right? Right. Let me just scroll on back here. When was it? It was in October, right? Where is it? Yeah, October 27th. They won, and that was in Capital One Arena. So then go to a few weeks later, and they take on the Caps again, the Red Wings and the Caps, in Motown at Little Caesars Arena. And this, of course, was a big game because Vitek Vanacek had just gotten hurt earlier in the week, and Samsonov was going to play the next night. Yes, he was going to play in the next game against the Columbus Blue Jackets, because that was obviously the better team, and the Blue Jackets still are in that case. So Samsonov was going to get the call because, they realized that they were going to play. You didn't want to play Samsonov twice, and it was really anticipation of whether or not Zach Fucale was actually going to play. I had mentioned it when we talked with Jay Forrester. We did a crossover episode with Jay Forrester from Locked On Blue Jackets. Maybe you'll see Samsonov play Detroit, and then Fucale gets the call against Columbus because of the fact that in some situations the coach will put in the better goaltender just to get the for sure 2 points. And then while we were recording, of course, Zach Fucale is going to get the start for the against the Detroit Red Wings. And we didn't really know what to expect because Fucale was, of course, at that point a journeyman of the minor league system. Spangler Cup champion, of course, ECHL All-Star, what have you. Didn't really ever get a good look with Laval. Didn't ever look good and comfortable in Laval when he first came on into the pro hockey level after leaving the QMJHL. And you just kind of wondered how it was going to go. And then the weirdest thing happened. One, I still believe that Detroit Red Wings fans and Detroit people around the Wings look at that game much differently. I thought the Caps played one of their best defensive games of the year. They only gave up 21 shots. However, of those 21 shots, none of them beat Zach Fucale. In his first National Hockey League start, he pitches the shutout. Great moment for him. His family, of course, was there because it was his first NHL game. And I believe because he got drafted in, 2014, I think it was 2014 is when he got drafted. And I still remember that because that was shortly after he had won the Memorial Cup with the Halifax Mooseheads with team of Nathan McKinnon, Jonathan Duran, Marty Ferk. Like, then they beat up Seth Jones and the Portland Winterhawks in the final. I still remember that. And that was kind of a cool moment. And the Caps came through in that game for him, and that they showed that they can find ways to win games when, you know what, they knew they had to play a different style. The Caps didn't want to play wide open. They didn't want to leave the rookie out to dry, and that's what they did. So these games are obviously going to be showing that they've been very, very tight, very, very close. I almost, it's going to be interesting because we saw, I believed, with the layoff, that the game against the Predators for the Caps on Wednesday was only destined to be a little bit of a wide open, wonky hockey game. I mentioned the pent up aggression, maybe a little bit of the annoyance, the nuisance of having to wait almost 10, 11 days to play a hockey game. I'm sure a lot of those players were a little bit annoyed, and that's why they came out with all this angst and a little bit of sandpaper, because they were annoyed that they didn't play. The Red Wings will have that as well, but will they have the same structure? Because Lucas Raymond had been taken off of COVID protocol. I don't know how much he skated with the team. And of course, this is a much different Washington Capitals looking team as well, because guys like Fehérváry is still out of the lineup, and Nick Jensen is also on the COVID list. Let me just confirm that there's still other players. Vitek Vanacek is one, Chalowski, Daniel Sprong, and Justin Schultz are also the other players remaining on the COVID list. I do not expect them to come off of it by tomorrow. So, long story short, you're going to see the very similar lineup than to what we saw on Wednesday. Do we see Phoenix Copley get called into action? Probably not. No, I don't think we're going to see this kind of story happen twice here. I think Samsonov sticks in the net because, I believe that this is the Caps, they want to start off on the right foot coming back from this break. As I mentioned, they do not have a back-to-back until the 7th and the 8th. So they have a few days off because remember, they were supposed to play the Montreal Canadiens at Centre Bell in Quebec on January 4th. However, the Canadiens were able to get an approval from the National Hockey League to move some of their home games around so they can try to move them later in the year. Hopefully when this COVID surge kind of dies down so they can get more fans in the game. We'll get to that story here in just a moment. I'll obviously have to mention it because Canada right now is getting hit hard, not just the World Juniors, but more. But long story short, the Caps will have a few days off, and that means Vitek Vanacek should be back, knock on wood, on the roster by the time they have to play St. Louis and Minnesota back-to-back games. And those two teams, of course, are playing Saturday at Target Field in Minneapolis in a little bit of a hockey game on a baseball field. The Winter Classic, of course. So, yeah, it should be a good game. I'm going to predict... I don't know. My gut this time actually says, the Caps may have this one because the Wings haven't played, at least the Caps had played before. I believe they'd played since the Caps had 1 day less of rest compared to the Detroit Red Wings. But of course, the Caps already played on Wednesday. The Red Wings have not played since the 18th. Yeah, you could give the favor to the Capitals, but just for the sake of it, just so everyone can end 2021 on a happy note in DC and the district, why not we just give this one to the Red Wings? A 2-1 victory. I think Samsonov plays great. Nedeljkovic will be fresh. And Raymond, coming back from COVID, somehow will score. Larkin will get the other. And that'll be happiness. That'll be great for the Red Wings. Everyone will be happy in Motown, in Detroit. Detroit, as Bob Colwood used to say. So it should be a good hockey game, though. 7:30 puck drop at Little Caesars Arena on New Year's Eve. It'll be a fun one for sure. We'll mention, like I said, we'll talk about what's going on in Canada right now. Obviously, a lot of more capacity restrictions, not just in Ontario, which was I'll say the originator, but the first real story after the Montreal Canadiens had to play a game with no fans. Not had to, but they chose to. And now it's across from coast to coast to coast in Canada. We'll also talk about some other news as well as our favorite moments from this year in 2021. But guys, I got to remind you that BetOnline has you covered this holiday season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before as football continues its march to the college bowl season and the pro football playoffs. BetOnline remains your number one spot for all the sports action this season. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use the promo code LOCKEDON to receive the bonus. From basketball, football, NHL, boxing, UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games, do not wait. Take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 21-22 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, so first let's let's you know what? Let's do this. We forgot to do it yesterday. I'm really bummed because I could have actually given the scores for Wednesday night and what games are going to happen on Thursday. Well, else is going to happen here on New Year's Eve? The New Jersey Devils, of course. Now, once again, I'm going to say all these games, and there's a good chance some could get postponed. There have been now 72 games that have been postponed this season due to COVID. But the Edmonton Oilers and the New Jersey Devils playing a 1:00 game. That'll be a nice little fun little game. I may watch that. I have some time before my friends come over. All my vaccinated friends will come over and we'll watch some hockey. That'd be kind of cool. 3:00 will be the Vegas Golden Knights against the Anaheim Ducks. So that's a 1:00 puck drop local time on the Strip. Tampa Bay and the Rangers play at 7:00, and that's it. There you go. I just feel like, and that's it because Ottawa and Pittsburgh's postponed. Colorado, Dallas postponed. Winnipeg and Calgary also postponed. Calgary, if I'm not mistaken here, I wonder if I can quick search this here for you. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the Flames, that is right. The Flames have not played since losing to the Boston Bruins on December the 11th. So they are going to go just about 3 weeks without a game coming up here. That is a tough go for Calgary, who is there. I mean, it's funny because they played the least amount of games in that Pacific Division, and they're still one of the top teams in it. Obviously, Anaheim and Vegas have been able to catch up because of the lack of games played by the Flames and the Oilers. But geesh, holy cow, that's a real tough. You hope they can bounce back from it because we saw what happened to the likes of Vancouver, who never really were able to respond after coming out of COVID. The New Jersey Devils were another team. Buffalo had a big bug too, but that team was going to be bad regardless. So those are the games though on New Year's Eve. The news coming out of Canada, though, the big news: capacity restrictions across the board. Ontario has limited the capacity for NHL, OHL, and NBA games to 1,000 fans, which is tough because the idea, of course, was going to be keep it at 50%. 50%, of course, is currently set for, I believe. Oh gosh, Gord Miller tweeted it out for me. Let me just quick go to his Twitter. Because even though he's pretty active today, he didn't ask me Gord sort of deal. Let me just do. I believe it's 50% for Alberta and British Columbia. And I believe, I can't remember, I think Quebec was at 1,000 as well. Come on. Gord, why'd you have to answer so many questions? Actually, I got an idea. Let's just click our friends on Sportsnet here. But regardless of the point, though, is that Canada's getting hits. They're getting hit hard here. They're having tons of issues right now. As far as we know, let's see, only 1,000. No one else really coming out on it. Anyway, so yeah, but it's about 50%. I believe Quebec is at 1,000%. 1,000%. They're at 1,000% capacity. They have completely destroyed all COVID protocols. Now 1,000 cap of people at Bell Center. But you really hope that gets, because I know the testing there is bad and it's been tough. And of course, we've gone over the World Juniors before, and of course, everyone is. And people are obviously saying, yes, it's the COVID variants that caused this issue, but it's the fact of the matter is that the players were not well taken care of at this tournament. If you want to kind of understand what I'm talking about, long story short, there were the way the tournament was set up off the ice, away from the arenas, was not well done by both Hockey Canada and the IIHF. So yeah, I would say you can point the finger at them. And if you want to know, go check out the last Locked On World Junior Championships that I did on Thursday. Cody Jansen, who lives up near Edmonton, is on Oilers Live, and he talks, and he's part of that show. And that's how he found out. But long story short, he's there and he knows all about the details of what really happened, why the tournament was first canceled because of the matter. So go check that out. We have a good conversation with him there. Also, Stephen Ellis stopped by back-to-back shows, and one for a good reason, one for not good reason. Anywho, and also, speaking of problems in Canada, the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League has pushed back their pause until January 14th. There was initially supposed to be January 7th. Unfortunately, the COVID issues continue to rise as well in Quebec, which means the entire league can't play for another 2 weeks. And why this was worth mentioning? Well, Hendrix Lapierre, who, of course, scored in his first ever National Hockey League game, cannot play now for another 2 weeks. And I know that he's not going to be allowed to play any more games. They can't call him back up because I think he'd have to stay up with the Capitals if they do that. So it obviously not kind of worth burning a whole year of his ELC. And it's a real bummer too, because I still felt like he could have played for Team Canada at the World Juniors. But then again, we saw how Canada looked in the first 2 games and we thought to ourselves, well, okay, that makes sense now. The team's pretty good. Nothing against Hendrix Lapierre at all. So with that, let's do a look back here of the best moments from 2021. One of mine, of course, is Hendrix Lapierre. We may as well mention that one right off the hop here. Lapierre, first NHL game, home opener, season opener for the Caps, full building, Capital One Arena. TNT is broadcasting the game. Wayne Gretzky's yammering away, and TJ Oshie gives the puck up, and here comes Lapierre and just rips a shot, and he scores, and the coolest moment of the season. It's still our wallpaper on our Twitter page because of how cool it is. TJ Oshie scooping up Hendrix Lapierre and throwing him up against the glass because he's so happy for the rookie. Yes, that was the only point Hendrix Lapierre scored, but it was such an awesome moment. One of my favorite other moments, and this one may be kind of dumb just because the way the series ended for the Capitals, but Vitek Vanacek goes down in Game 1. I know what y'all thought. The season was over right then and there. Well, unfortunately, an old man by the name of Craig Anderson stepped in and said, I'm going to extend this a little bit longer. Now, yes, did he play the entire series? No, Ilya Samsonov eventually came in. But seeing Craig Anderson, crusty old Craig Anderson, who literally was brought in because they needed just maybe another goaltender at some point. Maybe they needed someone just in case something happened to Vanacek or Samsonov, and obviously with COVID especially, they needed to make sure that they had all their bases covered for having a goaltender, because he'd only play 4 games that year, remember, in last season, in the regular season. And he comes in and just shuts the door in Game 1, and the Caps end up winning in overtime. And we all said to ourselves, gosh darn it, the old goat still got it. The old man with the scruffy-looking beard and bald head, he can still do it. Didn't save the season, but hey, you know what? For a brief shimmering light, the old Bill Masterton Trophy winner, a guy that literally was a big part of that Ottawa Senators 2017 Eastern Conference final run, he still had a little bit left in the tank. And I know things aren't going well in Buffalo right now. I don't think he's even playing at this point right now, because I believe I can't remember if he's injured or not, but it's cool to see. I love those kind of stories, like the comeback stories, the underdog stories, whatever have you. And Craig Anderson has really, since I want to say 2015, because the 2017 team should not have really been. The Sens probably should not have been that far. 2015 was kind of a bummer. 2013 was kind of a shocker as well. But Anderson's always been kind of the goalie it's always given, just because he's probably like the last stand-up goalie in the NHL. And he's just how he came out and was able to win games for teams that maybe didn't deserve to win. And the Caps, we saw in that series against Boston, after Vanacek went down, it's a whole different hockey team. But for one day, he was a hero for one day. David Bowie, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, Heroes. Great song. NHL 99 intro, by the way. Another good moment. Oh, gosh. Well, obviously, I've got to mention Alex Ovechkin passing Brett Hall and becoming the 4th all-time goal scorer in NHL history, and how pretty much we went into this season saying to ourselves, all right, it's got to happen eventually, right? Well, sure, yeah, given the fact that he's got a few more years left on his contract, and then he's come out and just completely tore up everything. Holy moly. I mean, it's just crazy to watch him play with this. It's like this renewed sense of purpose. Like, given at his age, and I say this, he could have literally coasted the last 3 or 4 years, scored 35 goals, and he'd still reach the record. But clearly Alex Ovechkin has something else in mind, because he scored 22 goals this season in 32 games played. And I believe that tied him with Leon Draisaitl. Once again, the Edmonton Oilers have not played yet since the COVID pause, or since the holiday COVID pause. But no matter the fact that Ovi is still one of the best players in the league at the age of 36. I know Gordie Howe was winning Hart trophies well into his 30s and into his 40s, but that was a much different game. Ovechkin is playing in an era where now we're turning towards a massive youth movement in this league. And even he is still looking and keeping up, if not exceeding, some of the new young kids on the block here in the NHL. I don't think I've had any more than that. I was trying to think about them throughout the day. But those are the three ones that kept coming to my mind. Yeah, that's all I really got here for 2021. Maybe it'll end with a good one tonight. Maybe we'll have a nice little moment. We'll have to wait and see. Puck drop between the Red Wings and the Caps, 7:30. Thank you all very much, by the way, for watching and listening to Locked On Capitals every day. Free and available on all platforms. Be sure to go make Locked On Bets your second listen of the day. Your boy Kuehl and Lee Sterling giving you the best gambling needs and all that whatnot. But thank you all very much. I know 2021's been a trying year, and it's been a tough year. And yes, will 2022 start off well? I don't know. And it may continue with some struggles and some down times. However, we as a society must persevere. We must continue to battle through because, well, if you want to survive and thrive, you got to find a way to dig down, get pucks in deep, get pucks in the net, and maybe we'll win some hockey games here. Thank you all very much. Be sure to follow us at Locked On Caps on Twitter. Follow me, the Insider of the Insiders, Tyler Kuehl, at TJKU29 on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. If you don't want to listen to that full episode of Locked On World Juniors I did explaining what happened, I did a nice little short 90-second thing on TikTok. Make it a little bit easier for you. Thank you all very much for listening and watching this episode of Locked On Capitals. We will see you in the new year.